Okay, guys, we're looking at the basics of nutrition today. Okay, so when you first start to look at nutrition, obviously it can become very complicated for some people, and it can be very scary when we first start. Okay, but when you begin, I just want you to focus on just learning the basics of calories and your macros. And sometimes when you hear the word macros, you might even know what it means. So when we're beginning, we're looking at our calories, and it's a really simple app that you can get. You can get MyFitnessPal, and it will track all your food. Okay, so when you download the app, you can scan your food as you eat it, or you scan it as you buy it in the shop. You can even scan the barcode, and you can track exactly how many calories and what macros you're intaking. And you can set your goal. You can set your goal intake based off what I give you, and from there, then you can go about your day. When we look at macros, okay, so when we look at 1 gram of protein, it equals the 4 calories, guys. Okay, same with the fat. So 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, and then 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories. Okay, the simple little, I suppose, rules of thumb that we go with. So, with regards to your body weight, we will always try and hit your body weight in pounds. So, for example, if you were 160 pounds as your body weight, we will go for 160 grams of protein. Um, for fats, we will go at zero point 0.4 of your body weight as a general rule of thumb. And obviously, this changes with some people depending on their scenario. And then your carbs are usually made up of the balance. Okay. And then we would go about timing as we advance on with our nutrition, but that's the general rule of thumb. Okay. It's a little bit easier to track when we go through our pounds, or if we go through kgs as well. Okay, I would avoid weighing ourselves in stone because it's very vague and is much more difficult, and that will give us our total calorie intake for the day. Okay, most people, their biggest worry is their weight loss. How am I going to do it? Where do I start? Where do I go? Okay, if we look at weight loss, guys, and we look at a simple class, okay, so a big thing for community would be the classes. So if you come at 6 o'clock and you do a class with us, whether it be in person or online, okay, being realistic, especially when you're new to the gym or when you're new to training, the most amount you may burn is 150 to 200 calories. Okay, unless you're really experienced and you're working really, really hard, you might be burning 150 to 200 calories. Okay, if you go away and you go upstairs in the gym and you jump on the Stairmaster, or you jump on the spinning bike at home, or whatever maybe, or you go for a run, the aim is to maybe burn another 150 to 300 calories if you're really, really working hard. So in the best case scenario, we're burning 500 calories of that day. Okay, so even if it was a morning class and you went for your run in the evening or whatever you done, you would be burning about a 500 calorie mark. Okay, post training meal is very, very important, and I will be talking about the importance of this as we go on. So the post training meal, you might take in, let's say, 450 calories as an example. So we're working off that 950 calories. Okay, so you're in a 50 calorie deficit, and we go from there. Okay, the people who will avoid eating after training, thinking that they're cutting their calories, when we look at, or we may listen to other coaches and they talk about calories in versus calories out. Yes, there's an energy expenditure, but it's all about when we have it. Okay, if you start to cut away this post-training meal, there's a couple of things that are going to happen, right? It's either you're going to get injured, or you're going to burn out, or something along the lines is going to happen, because you're not going to be able to train to the extent that you need to train. And if you're someone that wants to tone up and you need to work really hard at the weight training, for example, to really change the look of the muscle, then you need the recovery there. Okay, so the post-training meal is so important. For example, right, how are we going to fit that into your day? If it was a training evening, and it's very common for people to struggle to eat in the morning, okay? So you might be that person who gets up in the morning, doesn't eat, and then they might be going off this intermittent fasting scenario, but I don't think we're at that level yet, okay? So if you're that person who gets up in the morning, doesn't eat, they might have tea or coffee in a scone at 11 o'clock, and then they skip on, and then at dinner time they have this big meal, and we're wondering why it's stored as fat, and then we're wondering why we're really struggling to change the shape of our body, even though we're doing all of these things. Okay, we're burning out really quick. So I would like us to build a little bit of consistency here. So at 7 o'clock, let's say you get up, but you're not training till the evening, we will go for a high protein and high fat meal. Okay, it may be a balanced meal at the beginning that I give out to people, but it will be taken away at some point with the carbs. Okay, so we're trying to lower the carbs as much as possible. Anyone who's been training with me a long time will understand this, but just for the basics, we're looking for a high protein, high fat meal. If you struggle to eat solid food in the morning, which is perfectly normal, we would try and aim for a protein shake. So, like for example, if you're going for, like, eggs are easy to eat in the morning, but if we're going for a shake, you might even add egg whites to that shake. We'd have our whey protein. We'd have any of the high fats in that meal. Okay, I don't need to go into too much detail right now. At 11 o'clock, a lot of people will have a short 15-minute break. You might have a short solid meal that you've prepped. We will go again for high protein, high fat as we're training in the evening. We don't need our carbs right now. Okay, so we're looking to stay as balanced as possible. And I'll talk about insulin timing in a later video. 3 o'clock, you might have your bigger break, for example, at work, and that's your time to maybe get another solid meal into you. Okay, obviously, when you're struggling, I would always try and go from liquid meal to solid meal, and if you were going another liquid meal, I would try and keep a solid meal in between if possible. Okay, but we go liquid in the morning, solid, and then, for example, you finish work at 5 o'clock, you go straight to the gym. And if you were really struggling in between this time, 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock, you would maybe have one of the snacks that we've given you. And those snacks, again, would be high protein and high fat, okay, to control our insulin levels. And it does control the cravings, and it does control the energy levels. It just takes a little bit of getting used to, okay? When we finish our training, so for example, you do your class or your 30-minute cardio or whatever it may be, we go and we have our post-training meal, okay? So that might be, for example, that pasta dinner that you wanted to have. It might be, like, for example, you're craving things. So for me, I love my jellies. So I would have my protein shake, and I would have a packet of jellies, maybe 2 squares bars if I was going something sugary. So that's your time to have your sugary foods, guys. I might have whatever may be the dinner. You might have rice. It's your time to have your white rices, all of these things, and you can keep it solid. But we would try and always have our protein shake. Okay, how we would mix that in. So, for example, there might be 4 balanced meals, and you're struggling to eat. I would still urge you to still try and eat those meals, even if you have quarter of each meal. It might seem like a waste, but we're learning how to teach our body to start taking that food and start to digest it, and stop it sitting in our digestive system for too long. Okay, and you'll find after a while, as you're training and you're building your base, then you will actually be hungrier and you're looking forward to the next meal. So every 3 to 4 hours, we're starting to eat again. If you're asking about cardio, especially with weight loss, okay, how many times can you move within the next 7 to 14 days? Okay, so if we take a 14-day cycle, in those 14 days, that's your opportunity to do 28 sessions. Now, you might be saying, how am I going to get the time to do 28 sessions? In those 28 sessions, it can be class in the morning, it can be a walk in the evening, it could be a class in the morning and a class in the evening. You might double up on them. You might need the recovery, so it might just be a walk. It might not always be really, really intense, but we're moving our body all the time. We're getting ourselves moving all the time. There's no excuse why we can't move every day. Okay? It doesn't mean it has to be 100% intense all the time, but it can be really, really consistent. So we're looking to build consistency, especially in the basics, and we will grasp around that. If you're someone who typically trains in the morning, we would just flip this on its head. So if you get up in the morning and you want to train fasted, that's absolutely fine. You can still, or if you wanted something before your session at 7 o'clock, say, or at 6 o'clock, you can have that shake. It will still and not be too heavy that you can't train. And then you would train, and then you would just have this 7 o'clock meal here where it's solid. You have a shake after, your post workout shake, and then for the rest of the day we're going high protein, high fat. Okay, if you're someone who trains twice a day, and this will be another question that will maybe pop up, you will just split this meal in half. So, for example, if I have given you 300 grams of carbs to eat in the day, you would have 150 grams as your post workout meal here, and you would have 150 grams of carbs in this post workout meal in the evening, guys. Okay, so that's as simple as we break it down. The main one that we would aim to hit first, and the easiest one to learn to hit first, would be hitting our calories and hitting our protein, guys. And we build the fats and the carbs around that. Okay, so don't overthink it. If you can't get it straight away, it's just about building the consistency of trying to eat each meal, and then we would go more specific on where we would have the proteins and the high protein meals and the high carb meals and more. Okay, there will be coming a time as well where we'll change the calories and so on. And if you're someone who I suppose struggles and you might miss a meal, if it's something that keeps happening over and over again, it is a planning issue. If it's something that just pops up on the odd day, then that's absolutely fine. Life happens, but just don't let it linger over and over again. So that's your basics of nutrition, guys. It's all about building consistency.